Welcome to Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle. Happy middle of the weekday, most places on the globe. Take off a couple of hours, or the hot music lets you actually do stuff. But I've got a great What's That for you today. Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. We're going to go to school today on cell phone radiation and why you should care. Enjoy the music. I'll be back in a bit.
Floating through the air, up and down, my pink
No. Okay, I'm back. Zenobia here. Hi. It's kind of cool in here, so yes, Chris, I had to wrap up. A little cool. Oh, yeah, I was checking out some stuff. Anyway, okay, so this kind of started out in a very fall-ish music set for the show today, and you just heard Marcus Miller. By the way, today's show, the music, bass drums today. Heavy on the bass drums. And then I also have a cute little segment of music in there that I really like with my all-time favorite musician and a tribute to him. So that's coming up in a little bit. Okay, so that was Make Up My Mind by Marcus Miller, and that was actually a live version, Tokyo Jazz from 2005. So that I found that version. It's also on Silver Rain. If you get the album Silver Rain, it's on Silver Rain. And prior to that was a tune called Trials and Tribulations. Very different. Chris says, that's really slow. Very slow. Jeff Robinson Trio, and that's from Getting Fixed. And there's another Jeff Robinson that I like very much. He's a vocalist, and he plays a lot here in LA. And he's fabulous. One of these days, hopefully I can get him onto the show. But he's really cool, too. So there's two Jeff Robinsons that are really cool out there. And opening up the show was a tune called When I'm With You, and that was a David Sanborn tune featuring Layla Hathaway and Eric Benet, and that's from an album called Inside. Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. We're doing Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle. That is, now you should know, tech tools, toys, and news, hot jazz, and passionate living for those of you who are new here. And how you find the show, a few shows back, we did a What's That on QR codes, and I used my show, and what I did, I built a web page that had a bunch of different ways that you could access and hear my show. And Chris has up on the screen the QR code. So if you did your homework, all of those returning fans of mine, you downloaded your QR code, right? Red Laser, one of them, any of them, so that you could scan the QR code and open up the web page actually on your phone and see all the different ways you could watch the show. And if you haven't downloaded your QR code, you should download it, because there's a lot of vendors, because, you know, the holiday buying season is coming up, and you'll get a lot of postcards that may have QR codes on them, and different kinds of print. Even billboards now have QR codes on them. So you want to have your scanner, your QR code scanner, like Red Laser. And not that I'm promoting Red Laser, but that's the one that comes to mind, because you can scan them anywhere. And up pops different kinds of data, videos, web pages, even just a business card with simple name of the company, the email, and the phone number, which is all the basic relevant stuff that as a vendor you want to get out there. So anyway, you can go and do that. And now also you'll be able to watch the show live on Ustream, and there's an app for Ustream as well. And you search RMC on air, 3 different words, right, Chris? 3 different words. RMC on air for Ustream. Oh, channel, yeah, and there's a Ustream channel, so there's an app, and then also you can watch it on your desktop. So we've got all kinds of ways that the show is being delivered, and one of these days I'll talk about distribution of content, although you already know because you probably can get the same stuff on your desktop and your phone and your iPad. So a lot of people are traveling around with iPads, phones, and laptops. I stick to my phone most of the time for 90% of everything. So anyway, okay, so coming up, we're going to do some more music, and the What's That today is cell phone radiation and why you should care and what you shouldn't have to care about. And a little detail, I pulled down some stuff. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I'm a concerned user, and I'm not a geek, but I get really into detail because I always like to know how stuff works. So I've got some details. I actually have some pictures. So we'll have some pictures, and very stunning pictures actually about radiation, what happens when you have this phone up to your head. Okay, I'm stopping talking. Let's do some more music. Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. And you're listening to and watching Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle. You're going to hear X. This is my drum ode. And here on Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle, tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, passionate living. See you in a bit. coming in. We're both working real hard over here. Zenobia here. Okay, love that little set. I like all my music, so I'm playing my passion. So hopefully it's infectious and it infects you. Anyway, cute titles today. You just heard Evil Birdman of Funk. And that's Dirk Quinn. I've doubled up on some of the artists on today's show, which I almost never do. But I just loved some of the music, so I said, why not go for it? Okay, and that's from a CD called Getting Fixed. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back on my iJump. Quintet. That's Evil Birdman of Funk. And prior to that was The Big Thing. And that's Andy Summers, The Last Dance of Mr. X. And leading off the whole set was X. And C.G. Ryche, who I played on some other shows too. And that's from a CD called EX. Chris, he left the room and then he came back with a drum. And he says, well, the music, what did you say? The music made you want to play the drums today? Well, it is a drum and bass day today. So, okay. So, Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle. We got a bunch of hot jazz going on today. I rooted around and curated and found some new music because I play this music all the time on my cell phone. I don't listen to LA radio. So I have my phone plugged in my car for when I'm driving around. So I need to have some fresh music too sometimes. I know it's new to you, but Z got her fresh music today. I got a bunch of fresh music today. Okay, so we're going to do a What's That? And what's our What's That today? It is a topic that is highly disputed, very contentious, very contradictory. There's all kinds of data and people are saying, no, you're wrong. And then they'll say, no, you're wrong. They're going back and forth. But so I thought I would take my short little stab at it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I pulled some goodies for you. I'm going to read off some stuff because it's easier to do that. But I find it very fascinating, and even if you don't believe that there's no radiation effects, or even if you do believe, we still need to be educated, at least to some extent, not to the extent of scientists. And I'm going to try not to go scientist on you too much, but we do need to keep it in mind and think about it, because guess what? You know that microwave that's in your kitchen? This operates a lot like how that microwave operates in your kitchen. And you know there's been discussions about the safety of microwaves as well. So we're going to talk a lot about how the radiation happens in cell phones. And yes, it is a lot like a microwave. So I've got a few pictures. We're going to throw up some pictures in a bit. And so first off, okay, Chris, you can do the first picture. I'm going to tell Chris which pictures to do. The first picture you're going to see is of an older cell phone, but the principle still works. Oh yeah, I thought that was really cool. It's a visual, a shocking visual actually, because we don't think, we just start gabbing away and we talk and talk and talk and talk forever. But this is actually, you can look at the heat zones. We're going to talk about the heat that gets radiated from these phones. Okay, so go to the next picture. And this picture, as I mentioned, it's of an older cell phone, and it's opened up. So you see the actual guts on the inside, and they're all basically made the same way. And what I want to point out here is that there's two things that have to happen to make a phone call work, or even to get your data and your internet over your 3G or your 4G. It's the same thing. So it has to have a transmitter, okay, on the inside, because whatever we're saying gets converted. I think I did a show about that before, about how voice gets converted and how data gets converted into something that can be transmitted with that transmitter. And now on the smartphones, you know how small the phones are now. They're on little tiny PC boards, so the size is small, but the function is the same. And then there has to be an antenna to transmit it or broadcast it out. So on this older phone, you actually see the physical antenna. Some of you probably are like me. You have a box full of old cell phones, and one of them had to look like this. Well, with the newer cell phones, the antenna is still there. It's just internal. So some of you may remember, well, or not, that back when the iPhone 4 came out, there was an issue about it dropping calls so much because the antenna was on the inside of the phone. So they actually had to create a special case, or you had to get a special case that would shield the antenna so that it could transmit the call without dropping. So now the antennas are basically on the inside. Okay, so you can show me now, Chris, for a bit. So as I mentioned, when you're talking on a phone, your voice gets converted, and actually it's in a form that can be transmitted, and it's encoded. I didn't get a chance to do my sine wave design, but I'll do that another time. But it gets converted into what's called a sine wave. So a sine wave goes like this. Okay, yeah, actually you can use the next picture, Chris. It does show a sine wave. Down at the bottom, it's a sine wave. So it's all converted into sine waves, and then it's radiated out or broadcasted out. So via the sine wave, so that it kind of fluctuates, and depending on the inflections of your voice or the music, the sine wave and the frequency of the squiggles will vary. So then the sine waves, they're measured in terms of frequency, as I mentioned, which is the number of times a wave oscillates or goes up and down per second. And then once that sound is encoded, then the transmitter can send that signal to the other end. So if you have a transmitter, you then have to have a receiver. But before I get into that, Chris put this graphic back. And this graphic will, the one that you have up with the sine wave. Okay, this one is really cool because it gives you an idea of all of the spectrum of different devices that we're affected by every day. So if you start on the left side, you see the antennas, and that's basically for low frequency, like your microwave. And then you have very low frequency as you move farther right, and then you have radio waves, and that's where your broadcast happens, like radios and TVs, and well, not TVs, but and then so you see where the cell phone is. It's in the 2.5 meg, 3 meg spectrum, and then actually it's right above the microwaves. So it's kind of like, think of your phone as a microwave, or your microwave, well, if it had the right features, it could be phone and transmit also. And then as you move farther on, you got infrared. And what are infrared devices? Remote controls that control your television, all kinds of devices. Even now some refrigerators have remote controls, right? Okay, and then it moves on up to ultraviolet, and it gets into a zone where we have to be really careful. So if you notice that down at the bottom of this chart, it's divided up into non-ionizing radiation and ionizing radiation. I'm not going to explain what any of that is, except to know that when it's in the non-ionizing radiation, conventional wisdom is that that area is in a safe zone, safer zone. of transmission or of radiation. But if you get into the ionizing side, where like the infrared or the ultraviolet is, that's where there are for sure effects that are not healthy. So as we now look at these devices, let's see, Chris, go to the next picture. While we're talking on the phone, this is a picture of a cell tower. Because why is this called cell phones and cellular phones? Because they're made up of cells across the country, across the globe actually, and the transmission, the phone transmits from one cell to the next cell to the next cell to the next cell. It's not like broadcast TV and radio where the transmission is just in the air and it goes only for a certain distance, but in the air. With these, you have cell phone towers. So that's why if you are far away from a cell phone tower, or you're in the middle and you're far away from two towers, your calls don't work very well, or you're in a dead zone. And also with these cell phone towers, they have a hard time going through heavy steel. So if you're in an elevator, the earlier phones definitely won't work. Some of the new phones will work because now there's microcells all over the place. There's like little microcells. I actually have a microcell for my home because I'm next to mountains and my phone doesn't work that great. So I have this little microcell that'll help boost the signal. And actually there's a couple of my clients that I'm going to work with them to get them microcells because their phones don't work in their office. And can you believe it, in Beverly Hills, a cell phone doesn't work in home. Okay, so Beverly Hills is not exempt from the foibles of not getting cell phone calls through. So, okay, so let's go to the next picture. So now when you're making this phone call and you have this phone up to your head, this is a visual of, let me explain one more thing. With these, with this radiation creates heat. And sometimes you can kind of feel your cell phone get a little warm after you've used it for a long time, or you're doing a lot of things that'll feel a little warm. Well, it creates and generates heat. So when you have this heater up to your ear, it radiates the heat into your head. So this is a visual of, on the left side, when you're not using a phone, and what the heat spectrum looks within your head. And then are you on the one? Oh, okay. No, go back to it should be okay, I guess I got these out of numbers. 6. Sorry, people. We didn't get to practice this. Yeah, so on number 6, yeah, so now you can look at, no, the other one is relevant. I'll get to that in a second. But this one is really relevant because it shows you the thermal heating of your head just when you're just walking around, no cell phone. Okay, so when you're in a conversation, and I think this one shows after 15 minutes of being on a phone call with the phone up to your head, what the heat begins to build up. And of course, red is hotter and more heat. And of course, when you start having a lot of heat, then it starts affecting some of your brain processes, potentially. Some of them are not, as I'm saying, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I'm taking some, data that's come out. And this is for real because it actually generates heat in your head. And so this is, and it transfers that heat to your head if you have the phone up to your head. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a minute, let you digest that, and play a little bit of music. And I know you'll walk around looking at your cell phone like, what should I do about, what should I think about doing this? Do I believe all of this or not? Anyway, okay, this is our What's That? Cell phone radiation and why you should care. Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. I'm making this technology touchable so you don't fear it, you embrace it. Find out that, yeah, you need to check it out and maybe pay a little bit more attention to stuff and incorporate it into your life, make your lifestyle work a little bit better so you can have more time for your passion, which is the passionate part of Tech Diva and the luxury lifestyle. Tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, passionate living. I'll be back in a bit.
flowing from days gone by, reflecting clouds so high. It seems I hear you say, I know you'll leave someday. Ooh, San Francisco River, I see you every day. Ooh,
Hello. Okay, this is a real treat for me to put this little segment together. If you recognize the first song and you're an avid jazz lover, you would know that was Miles. Okay, so Miles Davis, Katimbe, and that was featuring Didier Lockwood and Mike Stern. And, I just said that all backwards. The last one, the one you just heard, was Miles. If you're a Miles lover, then you would figure that out too. Chris and I were talking about a special event that's about to happen in his life, so I came in, got together like a few seconds before. But anyway, yes, the final song was Miles's version of Katimbe, and it's from Amandla, one of my favorite CDs. I think I have it on black vinyl still. And then sandwiched in between was South Francisco River, and that was Ayerto Morera and Flora Purim and Joe Farrell on sax, and that was from Three Way Mirror. So I dug that out. I love this. This is on my iPhone, and I listen to it in my car. One of my favorite albums of all time. And then opening up the set was an artist called Jean-Mi Chuang. He's French. And he did his version of Katimbe, which I think is a fabulous tribute to Miles. And there again was featuring Didier Lockwood and Mike Stern. So with all this cell phone radiation stuff, Chris's thing going on, I'm all over the place today. Anyway, the music's hot, the music's good, and you're getting a little bit of education. So we're talking about the What's That is cell phone radiation. This is part 2. And okay, so what are some of the effects of this thermal stuff and this thermal heating going on when we have our phones up to our head? So there again, it's the picture of the before picture is just as normal. So you see the little red zones of heat. There's certain organs in our head that actually generate heat themselves. And so you see little dabs of red here and there. And then the cooler areas, of course, are the darker colors, are the bluish colors and the purples. So, but on the right side, again, this is a graphic depiction of a 15-minute cell phone call. What happens to you when you have this phone up to your head for 15 minutes? And you see a lot more red in different areas of your, and then you can see where it's concentrated, about where your cheekbone is. There's a big wad of red right there. So what does that say? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so here's some information about what happens with this temperature thing going on. So the temperature in your inner ear, because of course that's your ear where you want to hear, and also your brain, it increases maybe about a degree or more, which we saw in the pictures. It does increase. So this adversely can affect the functioning of these organs, and also it can, for some people, not everybody, for some people, and this is all still up in the air, but I'm reading. Oh, I didn't do my credits. I have to make sure that I give appropriate credit to where I've gotten this information from. So 2 sources, I'm taking a time out here. 2 sources is from howstuffworks.com, and it's how cell phone radiation works, and this is actually back from August of 2001. This general data and how this works, everything still works the same. So even though it was 2001, it's still relevant data. And you can go to www.howstuffworks.com/cell-phone-radiation- .htm, and I'll try to put that up when I post the YouTube. I'll put this reference up and these graphics up also. And also from a website called Electro Schematics, and there's this mobile cell phone radiation, and you can go to electroschematics.com and just do a search on mobile phone radiation. Okay, so I want to get to this other picture that talks about what happens depending on what age you are. But before I do that, don't show that yet, Chris. I want to go back to some of the potential health things that are going on when you have this phone up to your head. And so potentially you may feel some burning sensations in the scalp or your ear area. Actually, mood alteration and lack of concentration. Well, you know, sometimes we don't need a cell phone up to our head to actually have that. So to tell what causes that, that's all over the place. Also, lethargy or lack of sleep. You know, if you get 3 hours of sleep, you're going to be lethargic, and you don't need a cell phone against your head to figure that out. Me, I'm overworked and I'm doing so many projects that I know why I don't get enough sleep. Okay, and sometimes whistling in the whistling sound in the ear, potential premature cataract. I'm not a doctor, so I'm just reading this from these sources. And potential cataract or cornea, because what happens that the eye gets a little lack of blood supply. And so therefore, with the blood supply, the blood traveling through your body, it actually moves stuff around and dissipates that heat that we were talking about earlier. So if your blood supply is minimized, then that can happen. Okay, so there's some effects of this thermal thing that's going on from the heating that ends up getting to your head. Okay, and then of course, if you have your cell phone turned up and you've got loud music in there, you're going to have some effect with your inner ear and your hearing. And that's why recording engineers, their hearing gets impacted because they're in the studio with all this loud music, or if you're going to rock concerts, that's what earplugs are for, which are a really, really good idea. So everybody should at least have a set of earphones someplace, but also turn the volume down in your phone. Because potentially the same thing can happen because it's a speaker, a loudspeaker in your ear. Okay, and there's all kinds of other stuff I'm not going to go through. Okay, so as you saw that picture of what happens after 15 minutes, we're going to go to another picture. And I found this one really, really telling and very interesting for me because it shows how the radiation can penetrate the brain, potentially penetrate the brain through this thermal heat thing going on. But it shows what happens with a 5-year-old. So with a little kid, the thickness of their skull is not the same as an adult's. It's a lot thinner. So therefore, if a young child, a 5-year-old, has his cell phone up to their head, what is it going to do? It's going to radiate this thermal effect over a lot bigger area because their skulls are smaller than someone who's in the middle, a 10-year-old, and then an adult. So you don't want to start your 5-year-old off on having their own cell phone, or let alone doing a lot of talking to friends and relatives on the cell phone when they're that young, at least not for any sustainable amount of time, because the radiation effect covers a lot more of their brain and of their inner ear. So I wanted to just show this because it shows in a picture what can happen with this thermal stuff going on. Okay, so back here, so what I'm gonna do is talk a little bit. Okay, so you got to do your own homework too, and obviously there's plenty of stuff out there. But so my first reaction is like, okay, speakerphone, but I've been a proponent of using hands-free for a long, long time, for a lot of years. And I have a lot of friends who because they don't like the look of the Bluetooth or earphones in their ears. They don't like that look, so they're still doing this, or they're using the speaker on their phone and they're holding it so far away you can't understand what they're saying. I have one dear friend, love her dearly, but she's got the phone way over here because she won't go hands-free and I can barely understand what she's saying. So you just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, the first reaction after all of this is like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not doing this all the time. There's just sometimes when I'm in a bad cell zone and I have to do the call that I will do this. And then also for me, I have a convertible car. So hands-free is good, but with the top down, I will just tell people that or I won't answer the call. And I will tell them real quickly over the speaker over the car that I'll call them back later and I have a stick shift. So I'm not doing all of this and this, no. So I will call them back later and so they'll have to wait, or they can text me and then I'll check the text later because I took the pledge, no text while driving. I took the pledge, so I don't text while driving. Or at least I use the Bluetooth. So I do like my Bluetooth so that I'm hands-free. And there's some conversations about Bluetooth transmission as well, because it is a transmitter as well. It is a transmitter, but it's a different, very low level, extremely low level transmission, unlike this or your microwave. So, so that's the first thing, is like, oh, okay, I'm not going to have this phone up against my head, at least not very long. With these kinds of things, there are opportunities for people to try to capitalize and make some money with the whole fear factor. And so there are these devices that are out there that are called radiation jammers or radiation deflectors, and they sell them. And I started to show a couple of them, but then I opted not to. Because can that device in fact stop the radiation where this is like radiating all over? Chances are they won't. And even the feds have said that this is an opportunity for scammers. So what can we do to mitigate or at least take some precautionary measures? Sorry, I'm reading this. I can't remember all of this so much. There's a few things. Do not use mobile phones against your head for more than 10 minutes continuously. And during a conversation, mobile phones will release bursts of energy to keep the link. Okay, so that's something that I didn't point out, is that sometimes you can tell when your phone is getting a little warm. Well, if you're in a zone where there are no cell sites, the phone is working really hard to try and keep that phone call going. So therefore, it's generating more power, more heat. So, so you got to kind of keep that in mind, that if you get away from cell sites, your phone is going to be working harder to try and keep that phone call. Okay, and so it's releasing a little burst of energy. Okay, and then this is from electro schematics. They're suggesting limit your phone calling to an hour a day. And then if you want to use it more, of course, use your Bluetooth or headphones. And then keep the mobile phone away from the bed while sleeping. Okay, there's several reasons about that. I'm going to do another show about some other reason why you should not have your phone, go to sleep with your phone in your bed. Because what happens, this is still radiating, even though, you don't, you're not on the phone, and it's some distance. So you want to distance yourself from your phone at least overnight. Give yourself a break. I have to do the same thing because sometimes I'm rolling over it and I'm doing my devotions and then I'm checking email. So I'm trying to get myself away from doing that, especially late at night. So distance yourself from your phone overnight, because it can impact your sleep, because your brain is still processing, because this heat thing is going on, and so therefore you don't get deep sleep. Okay, so I can kind of figure that out, and I'm not a doctor. Okay, and then don't give mobile phones to children. Okay, so yes, please limit that. Now, when they start getting older, like 8 or 9 or 10 years old, emergency situations happen where if you work a far piece away from where your children are, then it's a good idea. But there are ways you can just do like the prepaid phones so they don't have the opportunity to be on the phone very much. And then there's other things that you can do. Okay, so, and especially the little 5-year-olds, it is not cute to me to see a 5-year-old using a cell phone. Okay, that's not cute. So let's limit that. Okay, and then, oh yeah, just the mere fact of don't fidget with your phone while you're driving or operating any machinery, because your brain is trying to process what's going on here and there, and somebody's losing. One way, there's going to be a loss, and your brain is not going to be able to do all of that. Our brains weren't really made for multitasking, okay? And then also, oh, this is still a good point, and this is still relevant, even though the phones are a lot better today. Don't use your mobile phone while you're getting gas in the gas station, because what happens, this is radiating heat. Now, they've gotten really good about containing that, but at the same time, why put yourself in a situation where, for whatever reason, there may be, extra, the petrol, because it's an English website. There may be fumes that could be potentially charged and create a spark and cause a fire, which it has happened in the past. So for me, I'll leave my cell phone in the car when I'm getting gas, just to eliminate that. So no, it's not cute to be on the phone while you're grabbing the hose, and yeah, no, not a good look. Okay, yeah, because the static electricity can actually set a spark off, and then what can possibly happen from that. Okay, and then also, do not use your phone while you have it plugged into the charger, into the wall, especially the wall, because there again, you're talking about electricity, and static electricity can cause a spark or and create this environment where your phone can catch on fire. And the other thing, I was going to do another What's That on this about cell phones catching on fire. One of the reasons why that happens is if you have an adapter, I don't have it here, I'm going to do that as another show, but if you've got one of the really, really cheap USB adapters for your phone, and the jacket is not a good jacket, it comes loose, or the wires break inside the jacket, because there's a bunch of wires in there. If they break, potentially they can cause a spark, because you got it plugged into the wall and there's electricity going through there, and it can spark. Because I actually thought, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of different charger cords and different colors, and I found out they didn't last very long because the strain relief jacket broke, and then the wires broke, and I actually saw it sparking. So it's not a good look to have that while plugged in. If you have a bad cord, please throw it away. Okay, and that's how, if you have a bad cord, your cell phone, and you're in the bed at night and a charge happens or a spark happens, just, yeah, no, you don't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to do some more music. I still have a lot more music, and I'm going to come back and tell you what the feds say about scams. Okay, Zenobia here, the tech diva, touchable tech diva. We're doing a What's That? Cell phone radiation. More music. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, hey there. We're setting up Skype over here. We're going to do some cool things. I got to tell you what I'm going to be doing. Okay, you just heard, was that Thursday? I lost track. Thursday, that was Dirk Quinn again, the Dirk Quinn Band, Quintet. And prior to that, Pigeons Underwater. And that was the Greyboy Allstars from What Happened to Television. And opening up the set was a tune called Hunting Season, and that was the Electromagnets, and that was Electromagnets 2. Okay, I only have a few more minutes left, and of course I have a ton of music still left over for next time, but I just wanted to go quickly and give you a little bit of information about these scams. And this is from the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, the Consumer Information, consumer.ftc.gov. They got a bunch of stuff there. And so basically what they're saying that if you're looking for ways to limit your exposure to the electromagnetic emissions from your cell phone, know that according to the FTC, there is no scientific proof that so-called shields significantly reduce exposure from these electromagnetic emissions. Okay, so don't do the foil hat thing, In fact, products that block only the earpiece or another small portion of the phone are totally ineffective because the entire phone emits electromagnetic waves, just like what I was saying before. It's a radiator. It's a transmitter. Your phone is a transmitter. What's more, these shields may interfere with the phone's signal, cause it to draw even more power, like what I just mentioned. If it interferes with the signal, then the phone is going to work a lot harder to try and make your phone call happen. And possibly emit even more radiation. So no, don't do that either. So don't bother to spend the $30 or the $40 to get a radiation blocker thing. No, save that because you can do something really nice for your passion with that extra money. Okay, so the FTC is suggesting that to limit your exposure, some of which I've already said, is to increase the distance between your phone and your head. Oh, Chris is funny. After I did that segment, he went outside. What did you do? You had the phone away from your head. He had the phone away from his head. Well, because this is to make us really think about these things. Okay, and Yeah, look at getting like a Bluetooth for Christmas or for the holiday buying season, and use that Bluetooth or use a earpiece or headphones, whatever you're doing. Seeing people with the Beats, and they may be talking and they're talking in the gym and nobody's around, so you know that they're doing a phone call. Okay. And then consider texting. I mentioned that before also. Just not while you're driving. Take the pledge to not text and drive and pull over like I do. So just nothing's that important. Okay. And or wait till you have a good signal. Get in an area when you have a good signal, like I would tell people when I'm driving and trying to do the stick shift and the top down. And no, just wait, I'll call you back. Okay. And then also, so those are a lot of the main reasons. I won't get, there was some more tech stuff. Okay, so that's our What's That? Cell phone radiation, why you should care. Chris, come put my last graphic up. Okay, so if this really bothers you, and I know some people that they just don't even use their phones and they leave them in the car. So you can just chuck your phone. Well, it's become such a body part for some of us that, that's a no-go. But there are times where we need to just put it down, put it away, get out, go do that homework again that I gave you a long time ago about going to hear some live music, especially some jazz, because that's where my passion is. That's where some of your passions are. Just go do something out there and put the phone away. One of these days I'll do a show where I will challenge us to not do our phones for a day. I've seen some articles, and there's this one guy who I think he went a year without using his phone. He's completely untethered. And then I've heard and read where there's families that try to challenge themselves and go for like a month or a week or something like that. That would be a challenge. Anyway, this has been great fun. Yes, I have a little bit more music I can play, and I've got more music left over that I will just roll over to the next show. Actually, some of these are rolled over from last time. Okay, so happy Hump Day, Wednesday, middle of the week. A little bit more music. Let me see. Well, I think let's do Elephants on Ice Skates, Chris. I think that's kind of a fun one. Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. And why is it Touchable Tech Diva? To make technology touchable so that you don't fear it. You learn about it and embrace it to make your life more efficient so you can enjoy your passion a lot more. Okay. I'm out. Check out some more music. Elephants on Ice Skates. I'll be back in a little bit. is taking us out with Elephants on Ice Skates. Okay, and that is from It Is What It Is. And it is what it has been today. Hopefully you enjoy the show. I love this music. But anyway, and then so figure out about getting a Bluetooth or getting something. Don't let your kids play with your cell phones. It's not cute. Okay, see you next time. Zenobia, the Touchable Tech Diva at Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle. Tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, passionate living. Go do something really fun and wacky and fun. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.